This is the only cold email tutorial you will ever need. I've been doing cold email for over 5 years and have sent over 5 million cold emails and have literally booked thousands of calls. And in this video, I am going to go in depth about how you can copy my exact same cold email strategy so you can book meetings for your business too. My promise to you is that by the end of this video, you will have everything you need to launch a cold email campaign and book calls from it. I'm going to talk about why cold email is the most powerful lead gen resource, how to actually write high converting cold emails, how to test your cold emails, best practices of sending cold emails, and then lastly, tips to improve your deliverability, and ultimately give you the best strategy that you can use right now to drive more calls and increase revenue growth from cold email campaigns. Cold email can be one of the most powerful tools in your arsenal. There are a lot of compelling reasons as to why you should be using it to grow your business. First off, cold email is incredibly scalable. Unlike cold calling, where you're limited by the number of calls you can make a day, cold email allows you to reach thousands of prospects in a single day. With the right tools and setup, you can automate majority of your process, freeing up your time to focus on higher value tasks. Next, cold email is highly personalizable. In a world where inboxes are filled with generic one-size-fits-all messages, personalization is going to be your secret weapon. By tailoring your emails to match the specific needs of your prospects, you can dramatically increase your reply rate and build better relationships with your potential clients. Another key advantage of cold email is its ability to bypass gatekeepers and reach decision makers directly. Every business has email, and with the right research, you can find the right contact information of the CEOs of the company, the directors, and really any key players in that company. This direct access is something that makes cold email so unique that other outreach channels just simply cannot offer. Finally, cold email is cost effective. Compared to other forms of marketing like paid ads or direct mail, cold emailing requires minimal investment, making it an ideal choice for startups and small businesses looking to maximize their marketing budget. In short, cold email is highly personalizable, scalable, budget-friendly, and direct. It's a must-have strategy if you're serious about growing your business. But to make cold email work, you need to start with the right setup. Now that we've talked about why cold email is such a game changer, let's dive into step number 1, generating leads. Now, your lead list is the foundation of your cold email campaign. So it's very important to start strong. And in order to generate the leads that you want, you need to be targeting the right people. And in order to do that, you need to be targeting your ICP, which stands for Ideal Customer Profile. Think of your ICP as a detailed description of your perfect customer, the one who's most likely going to benefit from your offer. For example, if you're selling a project management tool, your ICP might be mid-sized tech companies in the US with 50 to 200 employees, where the decision makers are going to have roles like CTO or head of operations. Once you've clearly identified your ICP, it's time to find your leads and build your database. You can use different tools to build your database, but in this video, I want to show you how you can use Instantly's Lead Finder. It's a powerful tool that allows you to search for your leads based on the criteria you've set for your ICP, like job titles, industries, and location. You can even filter by company size or revenue to make sure you're hitting the right targets. This is Instantly's Lead Finder. You can access it really simply when you log into Instantly. You go on the top left, you see this magnifying glass, that's the Lead Finder. When you click on it, you'll see it's pretty straightforward. They have a bunch of filters here for you to leverage when you're building whatever lead list that you want to build for your specific use case. So let's say I want to target CMOs, so I'm going to write CMO, but I only want CMOs that are located in the United States, and I want them to be working at companies that are this size, so 25 to 100 employees. And then let's say even funding type, I want it to be just Series A. And now all of a sudden you see I went from like a list that could be potentially thousands of people, and that's how usually people do cold email, which is not the right way to do it, to now I have a very targeted list of 104 leads that match exactly what I'm going after. And it's also built within obviously Instantly, so then it makes it really easy for you to go from 0 to 1, which I like a lot. So you don't have to worry about, oh my God, I have to subscribe to another tool and then get a lead list there and then migrate over to Instantly. You can do everything in here. Now, if you already have a list, Instantly can help you clean and enrich your data, ensuring that your contact data is up to date and accurate. Now, let's say you want to add your own leads because you source it out in a way that just matches with your workflow, which is fine. If you just follow these steps and you upload your own CSV, so So let's go ahead, sample lead. Again, what's really nice about Instantly, one of my favorite features is that it looks very aesthetically pleasing. So it's very easy to follow where things are going. You can see here the column name is representing the data that I have in my CSV. The select type is more for the Instantly platform. So last name matches with the last name. They're able to co-match things together like this. And then you can also obviously manually alter it. So that means, let's say for job title, I can click on it and I can attach it with the data that I think is associated with it. So it can be custom variable or it can be personalization. It really depends on you. So for here, I'm not going to import it. I just want to quickly do a glance to make sure that everything is matched accordingly. And the work email here is good. Awesome. And now you want to add the owners. I'm going to add myself and I'm going to verify the leads. There are other ways to build lead lists, but they involve a lot more time to mine the data. Things like LinkedIn, industry-specific forums, and marketing directories are also great resources to find more leads. When using these resources, just remember quality over quantity. It's more effective to have a smaller, highly targeted lead lists than a large list of contacts who might not be relevant to your business. It really just depends on what you're trying to achieve with your database and then figuring out a way to build it. After you've found your leads, it's extremely important to verify their contact information. High bounce rates can damage your sender reputation and reduce your email deliverability, which no one really wants. This is where Instantly's verification comes in handy. It automatically checks your list for invalid email, helping you maintain a clean and effective database. So Instantly came out with a catch-all verification feature recently, and it's really great because, as we all know this, deliverability is typically the first things that you're trying to get right with cold email campaigns. It doesn't matter if you have good copy, if you have a good lead list. If your deliverability sucks, your campaign is not going to convert. So I'm going to go ahead and click on upload all and just wait. I'm going to yes, upload. Let's go to leads. And as you can see here, the status, it's verified. So then I can know with confidence that when I send an email to this lead, I'm going to have a really high likelihood that I'm going to be landing in the primary inbox. And as you can see, the ones that say they are in verification queue, you can just either refresh the page or come back a little bit later to see if they went through the process. So let's see if we can get one here actually. See, this one, for example, is invalid. So we're not going to contact them, which is great. And now I just have the confidence that my deliverability rate is going to be a lot higher because of this feature. To truly excel in cold email outreach, it's essential to not only have a good email strategy, but also a well-targeted lead generation approach. This means going beyond using standard criteria and utilizing advanced filters and strategize to really zero in on your most relevant prospects for your campaign. One of the most powerful features and tools like Instantly is its ability to use advanced filters to refine your lead list. For example, if you are targeting e-commerce companies, you can use advanced filters to figure out which companies are using platforms like Shopify or WooCommerce. This approach allows you to narrow down your search to businesses that are most likely going to benefit from your offer. Here's how you can do it. Sometimes, depending on how you want to go about your strategy for your cold email campaign, maybe the technology filter matters to you the most. So let's assume that I'm going after leads that are using Shopify. There it is. You can see there are 2.9 million people that are using Shopify. I can obviously refine the search further. So I can say I only want to reach out to people in the United States. And then let's say I want an even bigger list, which as you can see, it's already huge. But let's say I can also put Canada. But I don't want to go after really big companies. So I'm going to keep it at 25 to 100. And we went from 2.9 million to 178,000. Using these advanced filters will allow you to create more relevant and targeted lead lists, increasing the chances that your emails will resonate and get replies from your potential customers. Another powerful strategy is to use hiring signals to identify companies that are growing or have specific needs that your service can address. For instance, if you notice that a company is hiring for roles related to customer acquisition or marketing, it's a strong indicator that they're looking to grow in those areas and might be open to new solutions. Another great feature that I like here is job listing. So I can say, you know what, I want to reach out to companies that are using Shopify, that have employee size 25 to 100, located US and Canada, but they are also hiring for, let's start with a BDR. Let's see what we can find. 72, not bad. Let's put SDR. There we go. Sales Development Representative. There we go. We're growing the list a little bit more. Business Development Representative. We have 1,600 leads that we can go after. And now you'll notice that the language that I would want to use, for example, in this cold email campaign would be very, very straightforward, because there are two things that I can highlight that it would make them feel like this was written specifically perfectly for them, which is the fact that they use Shopify and the fact that they're hiring for a junior sales role in being an SDR or a BDR. So that's one of the ways that you can leverage these more targeted filters that the lead finder has, and is going to help improve your conversion rate when it comes to launching these cold email campaigns. This approach not only makes your outreach more relevant, but it makes you look like you've done your homework, which can significantly increase your response rate. For ongoing lead generation, consider setting up evergreen campaigns using job listing filters. Evergreen campaigns essentially are campaigns that are constantly running when a change occurs. So as you can see from this list, there are, as of today, 1,653 leads. But next month, that number might go up to 1,700. And the evergreen campaign basically automatically will add these leads because it understands, okay, this is the filter that Xavier cares about. And whenever there's a new lead added that matches these filters, I'm going to push them to the campaign. Okay, so this is how you're going to add the leads to an evergreen campaign. Let's just select the first 25 results for the sake of this demo. I'm going to click on add to campaign, and then I'm going to make sure that this is turned on, this toggle right here, enable evergreen. I'm going to keep it at add 25 new leads to this campaign, and I'm going to add it to this testing campaign that I named earlier. I'm going to click add to campaign. If now I go to the campaign section here and I search for the evergreen campaign that I just created, you'll see a little icon right here, infinity sign, so you know this is evergreen campaign. And then if I click on it, you will see that the leads have been imported and they've also been verified. If you remember, the setting that we have is to add 25 new leads every single month that match this criteria, and that's what makes evergreen campaigns so powerful. I highly recommend this strategy for those of you who are watching who already have PMF, who already know exactly what the market demands, who already launched a campaign in the past with set filters and it works so well. You don't need to constantly revisit and try to build a new one. You can just turn this section on and then instantly will take care of the rest. This is a very, very powerful feature. Just please make sure you're checking off all the right boxes before you hit launch, as you don't want to burn your TAM, burn your domains, burn your inboxes. This is best used when you have a very good understanding of your market and you just know that every time you reach out to 100 people, you're going to get, for example, like 5 meetings booked. This strategy allows you to maintain a consistent flow of new and qualified leads without having to manually update your lead list, making your outreach efforts much more scalable and effective. Incorporating these advanced lead generation strategies in your cold email campaigns will help you target the right prospects with precision. By using technology filters, leveraging hiring signals, and setting up evergreen campaigns, you can ensure that your cold email campaigns are reaching businesses that are most likely looking for your services, ultimately improving your conversion rate and the overall success of your campaigns. With a solid list in hand, you're ready to move on to the next step. Step 2, writing emails. But before I show you how to craft a good cold email, let's talk about the core of what makes a cold email effective. The first key to a good cold email is to be concise. You need to remember that your prospect's inbox isn't only getting emails from you. It's filled with countless emails every single day. And with so many to sort through, they probably don't have the time or the patience to read everything in your email. So that is why being concise is so important, because it values the time of your prospect. Being concise also increases the clarity of your message. And the result of that is that those who do respond to you will have a very clear understanding of your offer. This is why it's so important to state the purpose of your email immediately. Just jump in and get straight to the point so your prospect knows exactly why you're reaching out and what your offer is. Now that we've covered the importance of being concise, let's move on to another critical element of a cold email: personalization. Imagine you're a business owner and you get 2 emails. The first message is a generic one that says, if you want more leads, contact me. It's vague, it's not personal, it gives you no real reason to engage. Now picture receiving a second email. This one says, hey Bob, I understand you're finding it difficult to hire people for your roofing company and finding leads is very challenging. I have something that might help you. Which one of these emails would you be more inclined to reply to? It's obvious, right? You would choose the email that understands the problem that you're facing. And that right there is the power of personalization. It makes you stand out from all the spam and shows that you're a real business with a genuine interest in helping your prospects succeed. Personalization is all about making your reader feel valued and understood. Truth be told, this principle really applies to all sales processes, not just cold email. So if this is something you're not using, please start implementing it. Because when a prospect feels understood, they're more likely likely to trust you and engage with your offering. That's where personalization becomes so handy. It's about more than just using their name. It's about speaking directly to their needs, demonstrating that you've done your homework, and you're positioning yourself as a partner who truly gets their business and is there to help them out. When done right, personalization not only opens doors, but also builds the foundation for a long-term relationship where your prospects see you as an ally in achieving their goal. Now that we've discussed personalization, let's move on to the next crucial step, showing the value that you can provide. This is the cornerstone of any successful cold email, and it's what will ultimately convince your prospects to engage with you. When you reach out to a prospect, it's simply not enough to introduce yourself and your company. Your focus needs to be entirely on what they need, on what challenges they face, and how your solution will specifically benefit them. Also, this is something to consider. Your prospect is likely receiving cold emails every single day, many of which might even offer a very similar service to you. To stand out, you need to make it crystal clear how your solution will address their specific pain and how it will make a difference in their business. For example, instead of saying something like, "We offer marketing services," try something like, "We offer marketing services that have helped companies like yours increase their lead generation by 30% in 3 months." This statement shifts the focus away from what you do and what they will get if they were to work with you. It's crucial to remember that your prospects aren't interested in your company's success. They only care about their own success. Moreover, showing value goes beyond promising results. It's also about building credibility. Include evidence to back up your claims, such as case studies, testimonials, or even data points. For instance, let's say you say something like 85% of our clients see a return on their investment within the first quarter. This adds weight to your promise and reassures your potential client that you've done this before to people that are very similar to them. This isn't about bragging. This is simply about providing proof that you can deliver on the value that you're offering them. So now that you've captured their interest, it's time to set up the structure of your message. Each component of your email plays a crucial role in guiding your prospect towards taking the next step. From here on out, I'll be demonstrating these components so you can see how to exactly craft an email that not only gets opened, but also drives action. Writing the different components. We are going to start with the subject line, as it's going to be the first thing that your prospects will see, so it's really crucial to make sure that's written well. Think of it as the headline of your email. It's what draws your prospects in. If your subject line doesn't catch your prospect's eye, then all the work that you've done towards writing your cold email won't matter because they won't even open it. When crafting the subject line, your goal should be to appear as a friend or a trusted colleague rather than a typical salesperson. This means steering clear from overly used promotional language and focusing on something that feels personal and relevant to the prospect. This will help you significantly increase the chances of not appearing in their spam folder and, of course, increasing the likelihood of them opening your email. A good subject line should spark curiosity and offer a hint of value, or better yet, make the email feel like it was written specifically just for them. For example, a subject line like "increase your leads today" might sound appealing at first, but it's actually generic and has a very likelihood of landing in the spam folder. Instead, consider something a little bit more personal, like "Hi," and then include their company name, or "quick question," and then include the first name of the lead that you're trying to get in touch with. This kind of strategy makes the reader feel like they're getting an email from someone who either understands them or already knows them, versus getting yet another sales or marketing email. Another really effective approach is to hint at what your solution and benefit is. For instance, if you know that your prospect is struggling with generating leads, then your subject line could be something like "struggling with leads? I have an idea." What that does is evoke curiosity out of the reader and also mention something very relevant to the pain point that they're going through. The key here is to balance your subject line with personalization and value, making the subject line feel very tailored to them while also offering a reason to open your email. And at the end of the day, that's the entire purpose of the subject line. Remember, the subject line sets the tone for the entire email. It should be short, direct, and aligned with the overall theme of your message. After your subject line does its job, the next element is the first line of the email. This is where you start building the connection with your reader and you show that you've done your homework and you're not like all the other noise in the inbox. The personalized line is your opportunity to show the reader that you clearly understand their specific needs, pain, and goals that they have right now. A generic opening sentence like "Hey, I hope you're doing well" will not cut it. For example, if you've noticed that your prospect's company recently launched a new product, you might start your opening line with "Hey Xavier, noticed that you guys recently launched Pizza CRM. I've heard great things about it." This shows that you're actually paying attention to something that is happening in their business right now, and you're not just sending a generic message to them. Another approach approach is referencing a problem or a pain that the prospect is likely going through right now. For notice, I noticed Pizza CRM is expanding rapidly, which typically comes with a lot of problems when scaling your operations. This not only acknowledges their current situation, but it sets the tone for what kind of problem you're going to address for the rest of the email. The key to an effective personalized line is to make the prospect feel understood. It's not just about using their first name or company name, it's about using a piece of information that helps you to connect with them. Whether it's a recent achievement, something that you both have in common, or a challenge that they're going through, the personalized line should feel like it was written only for them. This approach will significantly improve the odds that the prospect will open and read your entire email. The next element to focus on is addressing the specific problem that your prospect is going through. This is where you get to demonstrate the real value you bring to the table by showing them that you understand their unique challenges. For instance, if you know that your prospect is struggling with lead generation, you might say something like, "Hey Xavier, I've noticed that generating leads in your industry has been quite challenging, especially considering the number of competitors that have been popping up in your industry." By directly addressing the problem that they're going through, you're not just grabbing their attention, but you're also positioning yourself as someone who has a solution for that problem. This approach makes it very clear that you value them as a potential client. It's crucial that this part of the email feels authentic and well-informed. This section isn't just about addressing a problem, it's about showing empathy and offering a path forward for your potential client. This strategy creates a narrative that allows your prospect to see your offer as the logical next step to solve their problem. It's all about connecting the dots between their current situation and where they can be using your solution. After highlighting the problem, now it's important to explain to them what would happen if they don't fix it and why they should consider working with you. The goal here isn't to be aggressive, it's actually to gently magnify what would happen if they don't fix the problem. One way to do it is to make it very clear that if you avoid solving problem A, it could lead to a much bigger problem B. For example, if one of the problem is about poor lead generation, then you might imply that poor lead generation now could cause either the business to plateau or a decline in market share if that problem is not solved. What's great about this strategy is that when you emphasize the potential problems that could happen in the future, you'll create urgency. It's all about realizing that working with you will help them avoid and prevent these problems from happening. Now that you've outlined the implication and the problem, it's time for your offer. Your offer is the solution that clearly addresses how they can fix their problem. Your offer needs to be so compelling that when they see it, they feel like it's an opportunity they just simply cannot pass up on. Your offer should be clear, specific, and tied directly to the problem that they're going through. It's not enough to say that you can help. You have to clearly explain how you're going to assist your prospect and what they will gain out of it. For example, if your offer is related to lead generation, you might say something similar to, "We provide a comprehensive lead generation strategy specifically for your industry, guaranteed to increase your qualified leads by 40% within 1 quarter." Backing your offer with a guarantee provides more reassurance for the potential client. It shows confidence in your solution and reduces the perceived risk from your prospect. For example, you might say, "If we don't deliver results, you don't pay." This kind of guarantee not only makes your offer more attractive, but it helps build trust, as it demonstrates that you're willing to have skin in the game and stand behind your service. To make your offer even more impactful, consider giving it a name. A named one feels more tangible and memorable as well. For example, you could call it the Lead Surge Program or the 90-Day Growth Guarantee. A well-chosen name can make your offer stand out and feel like a unique solution that is made specifically for the prospect's needs. Your offer is where you connect the dots, where you show your prospect that not only do you understand the problem and the urgency behind it, but that you have a clear, guaranteed solution ready to be implemented. At the end of the day, it's about making the decision of working with you an absolute no-brainer. We're approaching the end of the email, and it's at this point where you need to guide the prospect towards taking action. Your call to action is so crucial because it bridges the gap between the prospect reading the email and actually taking action to engage with you. A powerful call to action is one that is simple, direct, and easy to act on. It should feel like a natural next step instead of a hard sell. One of my favorite call to actions to use is by leveraging sending videos. For example, I can say something like, "We've taken the time to make you a personalized video to show you how we were able to help Apple generate 20% more leads in 1 quarter. Can I send it to you?" This kind of call to action does a couple of really important things. The first one is personalization. By saying that you've made a video just for them, it shows that not only you've done your research, but that you've put effort to give them something personalized, which helps the prospect feel valued. The second thing is value. You're not asking for a call. You're asking if you can give them something that would educate them, that would give them value, that would help them with the current problem that they're going through. This call to action also does a great job to give them a preview of what your solution looks like. The third thing is my personal favorite, which is low commitments. These people don't know who you are. They're not ready to talk to you. It's much easier to agree to receive a video than to jump on a call with a stranger whom you don't have any context about them. This kind of call to action does a great job bridging that gap from going from purely cold connection to now a warmer connection with this prospect. Which brings me to number 4, engagement. Now that they've agreed to do this, they are much more likely to want to engage with you. Remember, your call to action should feel extremely easy for the prospect to take action on. It should also feel like when they take that next step, it brings them a lot closer to solving their problem. Now it's time for us to dig into something a little bit more technical. It's called syntax or spinning syntax. Syntax is a cold email feature that a lot of expert cold email specialists leverage to create different variations of the email that they're sending out. This method is so powerful because it helps you avoid sounding generic and repetitive. It is also a great feature to leverage to avoid the spam folder. Syntax enables you to rotate multiple words or phrases within your email, which then instantly uses to send different variations to your lead list. On Instantly's platform, Syntax requires using double curly brackets and the keyword random followed by the pipe sign to separate the different options. For example, the phrase random, hi, hello, hey will randomly select one of these greetings every single time a new email is sent out. This level of personalization can have a big effect on the success of your cold email campaigns. Here's how you can leverage syntax in your cold email campaigns inside of Instantly. So in this case, this is how it looks like behind the scenes. But when I click on preview, you'll see now it says, hey Julie, I'd love to hear more about the way you manage sales at TalentDB. And again, here, the idea is when you click on launch and you start sending out the emails, Julie will get, hey, I would love to hear more about, and then Xavier might get, hello, I would love to learn more about. And this will help improve your deliverability because then the email service provider on the receiving end will see that, okay, this inbox rather is sending different variations to different people and it's not just a cold email blast with the same template. Adding liquid syntax with also AI generated lines is a great way for you to really protect and ensure that your emails are perceived different for every single inbox that you're sending out to. If you want to land in your prospect's primary inbox, you need to avoid spam words. You need to avoid it like it's the plague. These are specific words that email service providers will often associate with either unwanted or just low quality emails. If your email contains too many of them, there's a very high chance you're going to land in the spam folder. And that is that absolute last place you want to be at. Spam words are typically overly promotional or pushy terms that can raise some red flags. Let's run through a couple of examples. Words like free, cash, discount might sound appealing, but they're often used in low quality and spam emails. Phrases that create urgency such as act now or limited time will have the same effect. Lastly, financial terms like earn money or investment can be risky as often they're associated with scams. Instead of using these risky terms, try to be a little bit more subtle with your language. Instead of free trial, you could say complimentary trial. This will still get the message across without raising any red flags. And if you're struggling to come up with variations, it's a very simple prompt in ChatGPT and you can find words that replace these spammy words that might get you away from the primary inbox. Another important strategy is to stay focused on the offer you're making instead of making exaggerated claims. Instead of saying guaranteed success, just simply mention how you've been able to help other companies succeed. The more specific you are, the more educated you sound, and the more authentic you come across. Before you hit send, it's always good practice to run your email through a deliverability checker, which Instantly has. This is a great thing to have in your corner because it helps you take the necessary steps to avoid your email from landing in spam. After crafting a compelling message, you now want to ensure that it's going to be delivered in the primary inbox. No matter how good your email is, if it lands in spam, it's useless. This is where the deliverability score comes into play. The score does a great job at giving you a really good idea if your email is going to land in the primary inbox or not. It takes into account multiple factors, such as the content of your email, your sending reputation, and the technical setup of your email domain. For instance, the words that you use in your email can have a significant impact whether your email will be delivered or not. So make sure you're doing your best to completely remove these words from your email copy. Another critical factor here is your domain sending reputation. If your domain has a history of sending spammy emails, then your deliverability score is going to be low, which is why it's extremely important to always make sure that your lead list data is as clean as it gets. The only emails that you want to be engaging with are emails that have been validated. Instantly's deliverability checker, or any other similar tool for that matter, provides a great breakdown of all the factors that contribute to that score. It not only identifies the problems, but it also provides suggestions to fix those problems. For example, if your domain reputation is at risk, then the tool might suggest for you to set up your DNS records, or if you have a poorly written subject line that might trigger the spam filters, it will recommend that you change the language that you use. In addition, the deliverability score takes into account your email formatting and technical setup. Issues like missing alt text for images, broken links, or improper use of HTML tags can also negatively affect your score. These are the small details that are so easy to overlook but can greatly affect whether your email gets delivered in the primary inbox or not. By being thorough in this process, you're not just optimizing for good inbox placement, you're also safeguarding your entire email campaign. A poor deliverability score can lead to your emails being consistently flagged as spam, which not only affects your current campaign, but this can affect future campaigns you will launch. This step is a crucial part of the testing phase, and skipping it could mean the difference between a successful campaign and one that delivers no results. Let's do a bit of a deeper dive into the technical setup required to launch a successful cold email campaign, particularly when it comes to your sender reputation. Your sender reputation is everything. It determines whether your email will land in the primary inbox or not. When you're sending cold email at scale, relying on only one email account is very risky. High volume sending from one email account will raise a lot of red flags from email service providers, also known as ESPs. This is the last thing you want, as it leads to issues like throttling, where your emails are sent out more slowly, or even blacklisted, where your account is flagged and your emails are sent directly into the spam folder. To mitigate these risks, it's important to spread the volume across multiple different email accounts. Here's how to approach it. First is account distribution. Instead of sending 1,000 emails from one single email account, you might send 20 emails from 50 different email accounts. This distribution will lower the volume sent from each single email account, reducing the likelihood of triggering any spam filters. The second tip here is rotation strategy. You want to implement a rotation strategy where emails are sent in batches from different email accounts at different intervals. For example, if you have 50 different accounts, you can rotate through them every single hour, ensuring that not a single account is sending too many emails too fast. What this does is it mimics a more natural and human pattern, helping you avoid the spam filters. The third tip is monitoring and maintenance. Always monitor the performance of your sending email accounts. Tools like Instantly allow you to track metrics like open rates, bounce rates, and spam complaints for each account. So if one account starts showing signs of landing in spam, you can immediately pause and investigate further while you leverage the other email accounts that haven't shown any sign of concern. Using multiple secondary domains in your technical setup is another great strategy here to ensure that you're landing in the primary inbox. One really good practice to follow here is to limit the number of email accounts per secondary domain to 3. This helps ensure that the sending volume per domain remains low, which again will minimize the risk of the domain of being flagged by the spam filters. Here's why secondary domains are so important. Number 1, risk mitigation. If you're sending large volume of emails, using your main single domain is very risky. It can severely impact not just your cold email campaigns, but your internal communication as well. Whether that's with clients or team members, you don't want to affect the operations of your business. By using secondary domains, you're effectively isolating your cold email activities from your main domain. 2, domain diversity. Email service providers monitor sending patterns not just from email accounts, but from domains. By spreading your email accounts across different domains, you create a diverse sending footprint. This makes it much more difficult for spam filters to categorize your emails as spam. 3 is domain warm-up. Before you start sending a large number of emails from your secondary domain, you want to first warm it up. What that simply means is you want to gradually increase the number of emails sent per secondary domain. This allows you to gradually ramp up the sender reputation of that domain. During the warm-up phase, focus on sending emails to accounts that will have a high likelihood of opening your emails and a very low likelihood of getting bounced. This will significantly improve your sender reputation. Let's say you're running multiple multiple campaigns targeting different industries. You could set up a unique secondary domain for each industry. For instance, if your primary domain is yourcompany.com, you could create a secondary domain called yourcompanytech.com, yourcompanyfinance.com, yourcompanyhr.com, yourcompany.retail.com. This not only diversifies your domain setup, but it also allows you to tailor and personalize your messaging for every single specific industry that you're targeting. The real power of these strategies come when you combine them all together. Here's how to do it effectively. 1. Account setup across domains. For each secondary domain, set up no more than 3 accounts. For example, if you have 3 separate secondary domains, you might set up 2 accounts for each domain, putting you at a total of 6 accounts. This setup allows you to distribute your volume across 6 accounts versus just having it with 1. Number 2 is staggered sending across accounts and domains. Implement a sending schedule where emails are sent from different accounts and domains at staggered times. For instance, sending 100 emails from every single account, with each account sending at a different time. This staggered approach mimics a human pattern, which is less likely to be flagged as spam by the ESPs. Number 3 is cross-domain monitoring. Use tools like Instantly to constantly monitor the performance of your domains. Track metrics such as deliverability score, open rates, and spam complaints across all of your domains and accounts. If one domain or account shows any signs that they're getting flagged by spam filters, then you can quickly shift the sending volume from one domain to another while you resolve the issue. When you're setting up your cold email campaigns, learning how to set up the technical configuration plays a huge role in making sure that your cold email campaigns are successful. A well-configured domain and DNS setup is non-negotiable. It helps build trust with ESPs and improve your overall deliverability. While we won't dive too deep into the technical setup, here's a quick overview of the key elements you should be aware of. Your DNS setup essentially acts as a passport. It proves to ESPs like Gmail and Outlook that you're a legit sender. Without proper DNS configuration, your emails will either land in spam or not get delivered at all. There are 3 critical DNS configurations that you should set up. First one is SPF, second is DKIM, and the third one is DMARC. These records help verify your identity and avoid the spam folder. What is SPF? SPF stands for Sender Policy Framework. This record specifies which email servers are authorized to send emails on your behalf of your domains. By setting up SPF, you're telling the email providers, these are my approved servers. Trust emails coming from them. DKIM stands for Domain Keys Identified Mail. DKIM essentially adds a digital signature to your emails, essentially ensuring that they haven't been tampered with. This further confirms that your emails are legit. And last is DMARC. DMARC stands for Domain-Based Message Authentication, Reporting, and Conformance. DMARC adds an additional layer of verification by telling email providers what to do if DKIM or SPF checks whether to reject, quarantine, or monitor those emails. While it's very important to set up your DNS properly, it can take a lot of time and can be challenging sometimes, which is why Instantly's done-for-you accounts come in very handy. Done-for-you accounts are fully configured, including DNS, and they're ready to go right out the box. This service is perfect for those that don't want to focus on the technical setup and just want to get started by sending cold emails as fast as possible. If you're doing the setup yourself, you can go about acquiring secondary domains from providers like GoDaddy, Namecheap, or Cloudflare and configure the DNS records following their guidelines. If you want to skip all of that, then definitely check out Instantly's done-for-you accounts. Once you've checked your deliverability score and made all the adjustments that are necessary, it's time to send a test email. This is your chance to see exactly how your email will appear from the prospect's POV. This is really good to check if there's any formatting issues, if there are any broken links, or any mistakes that might have slipped through during the writing process. By sending test emails, you can also see how your email will look like across different devices. Don't underestimate how important this is because the smallest mistake can have a big impact on how an email looks at a different device. Once you see you have a good deliverability on your email campaigns, then it's important to start A/B testing your copy, as it's a critical tool that can significantly enhance your email campaign performance. A/B testing is also known as split testing. You do this so you can send different variations of your emails across different segments of your lead list to see which one will perform best. This is great because it allows you to test different strategies. You can play around with your subject line, with the first opening line, with your call to action, with your offer, and eventually figure out which combination is getting you the most results so you can double down on the winning variation. This is great because you're going to be able to figure out what works based on hard data. There's no guessing or assumptions made here. You're using real world results so you can make adjustments to improve the overall performance of your email campaign. Here's how you can implement split testing in your email campaigns. 1. identify the variable to test. If you're just starting out, just pick one. A really easy thing here to play around with is your subject line. Keep in mind that in order to identify what's working, what's not, stick to only split testing one variable at a time. Develop 2 or more versions of your email where the only difference is the variable that you chose in step number 1. So again, if you're going to choose the subject line as a variable, it's important that everything else remains the same. The only thing that's changing here is the subject line. And finally, number 3, send and monitor results. Pay very close attention to metrics like open rates, reply rates, and click-through rates, as those are going to determine which variation is performing better. 4, analyze and implement findings. After the test, analyze the data, see which version performed better, and double down on it. This is also great because it's going to help you implement the same strategies for future campaigns. It's important to not just understand the theory of A/B testing, but to actually see it in action. So let's dive into how you can set up and track your A/B tests inside of Instantly. So the way I like to split test is by trying out different subject lines and different preview lines. So I call them preview lines because they're essentially the first line that the person on the receiving end will see when they receive your email. So the first line is something that you want to play around with as much as you can, because those are the first lines of defense. Before someone reads your email, they're going to preview your email. So if they don't like what they see, it doesn't matter what you include in the rest of the email. So that could be one of the advantages when it comes to split testing. You can obviously split test anything in the email. You can split test the call to action. You can split test the PS line. But the way to do it is really, really simple inside of Instantly. You're just going to simply click on add variant. And then let's say if I copy all of this, I put it here. So here it says, hey, first name, I'd love to hear more about the way that I know. So maybe I can switch this out and say, I saw that you follow, and then here would be a company name. So say Instantly maybe. I saw that you follow Instantly on LinkedIn. And this is a completely different strategy that I'm leveraging for the first line. And I want to test. I want to see, will people resonate more with this line versus this line? And the same thing goes with the subject. So in this case, if I want to launch a campaign where I only want to know if my preview line is better than another version, then I might just keep the same subject line. I'll say sales review. And then in here, I'll leave it same. And now when I launch the campaign, if one variation gets triple the amount of replies versus the other one, I can be pretty confident knowing that, okay, the preview line, this one works better than the other. And then it's a rinse and repeat process. So my recommendation is start with this, and then you want to test with the body. So the body, I typically like to add a poke the bear question. So poke the bear question is usually a question related to the pain point that the lead is going through. So you could be saying something like, let's assume like this is for if someone is hiring for an SDR. And I know that the job opening was 2 months ago. So I can say something like, how is it impacting your business to be spending the last 2 months trying to hire a BDR? Yeah, so let's say I say a line like this. This is one example. I would leave the preview line that I know is a winner, and I would delete the ones that are not. And now I would split test again, but this time I would do another variation of the poke the bear question of the body text. And then same thing with the call to action. And then if you're going the extra mile and you add a PS personalized line, same thing with the PS personalized line. And that's how you're going to find the perfect recipe for the cold email that you're launching for any given time that you have. Key metrics to track in your cold email campaigns. It's very important for you to track the right metrics for your cold email campaigns. Monitoring these metrics allows you to understand what's working, what needs improvement, and ultimately how effective your email campaign is. Let's break down some of these key metrics. 1, revenue. Revenue is the ultimate metric when it comes to cold email campaigns. Is this campaign helping my business make more money? To effectively calculate revenue generated from cold email campaigns, we recommend that you calculate your ROI. Compare the revenue that the campaign generated versus the cost it was required for you to set up and launch the campaign. This will help you to understand if the campaign is profitable. And the second thing is track your opportunities. In Instantly, you can actually see the number of opportunities and the value for each opportunity generated by your cold email campaigns. The second key metric is positive replies. A positive reply is any prospect that shows interest in your offer or service. This metric is crucial because it tells you that your message is resonating with your lead list, which means you're targeting the right people. When tracking positive replies, you should consider doing the following. 1, categorize these replies. Not all replies are created equal. Some might be just asking you for more information, whereas others are asking you for a call or to book a demo with you as soon as possible. Categorizing your replies helps you understand just how effective your cold email campaign is and plan your follow-up actions. Last metric is response rate. Calculate the percentage of positive replies out of the total emails sent. A higher response rate generally indicates a successful campaign, though it should be evaluated alongside the other metrics to get a very clear full picture. 3, replies. While positive replies are great, it's important to also track the neutral and negative replies. This will give you a much clearer picture of the performance of your cold email campaign. Here's how to use this metric. Analyze feedback. Negative or neutral replies often provide really good insight into why some prospects aren't interested. Always look for opportunities to improve your email copy, and it is in those kind of replies where you'll be able to identify certain gaps that you might have had while setting up your cold email campaign. Engagement rate. This is the total number of replies, positive, neutral, and negative, divided by the total emails sent. A high engagement rate shows that your emails are resonating and, most importantly, being delivered to the prospect's primary inbox. Now let's have a quick look at what the analytics dashboard looks like in Instantly. This is from a campaign that we've launched actually for our agency at 1away. You can see here on purpose, we've disabled the open tracking rate because we don't want to know how many people are opening our emails for a couple of reasons. But the main one is when you turn that on, you are putting yourself at a huge risk of not landing in the primary inbox and landing in spam. So we never want to track open rates. The main metric that we really care about is reply rate and interested leads. So as you can see here, the numbers are looking very healthy. So we're at 3.2% reply rate. You ideally want to aim for 2% or higher. So 3.2 is great. So if I look at the number of sequences started, which is 495, and then I divide it by the number of opportunities that we got, essentially I know right now that for every 55 leads we contact, we're getting an opportunity. Step 4 is sending emails. As you're sending your cold emails, it's really important to follow best practices. One key practice is managing your email sending infrastructure to prevent your domains from getting blacklisted. Managing email inboxes and domains. To protect your email domain and ensure high deliverability, it is best practice to ensure that you're only sending 15 messages per inbox. In addition to this, it's important to stick to just one domain for every 3 inboxes that you set up. This strategy ensures that even if one domain goes down, your entire campaign won't be compromised because you've spread the volume of emails you've sent across different domains and different email accounts. Okay, here's how you can add domains in Instantly. If you click on the email accounts on the left side and then click on add new, you can either go with their done for you email setup for Google accounts, or Instantly just came out with a new feature for pre-warmed up accounts. This is more of a premium option. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's email accounts that have already been warmed up. So if you need to launch a campaign as soon as possible, this would be the best option for you. If you have the time to set things up, then you can click on here, or you can obviously connect your existing email accounts. Although I definitely recommend if you're starting out, the done for you email setup is very, very straightforward. So I'm going to start by writing the domain that I want to be similar to, which is my company domain, so oneaway.io. I can click on search for more if I want to see more options for better naming conventions. Although I will tell you, pro tip, people don't really care about the name of the domain that much from the leads perspective. So definitely don't overthink this. I'm going to add these 3. And the cost, by the way, comes down to $15 per year. So that's why it's at $45 per year for all 3. So let's click on next. And now for the forwarding domain, I want it to be forwarded to my main domain. So oneaway.io. This basically means if people were to search this domain, it will actually send them to my domain. And then I'm going to look very quickly here at the naming convention. So I see Xavier.Caffrey, and Instantly is doing this by just taking my first and last name and creating different variations of it. I am honestly happy with what I see. And as you can see, created 3 inboxes per domain that I bought, and the cost is $5 per inbox. So we're looking at $45 per month. And then I can click on place order. And as you can see here, it's going to take around 24 to 72 hours. And you will get an email in your inbox to let you know that the email accounts have been set up, and they'll be inside your Instantly ready to use. So very, very straightforward. And they take care of the hard and really annoying job of setting up your DNS records the right way, which is what most people typically struggle with. So that's why I really recommend this feature if you're starting out and you need to have inboxes that you know are going to be properly warmed up and will help you land in the primary inbox. Step 5. Follow-up strategy. After sending your initial cold email, it's crucial to have a well thought out follow-up strategy. Follow-ups are important because they increase the likelihood of you getting a reply. Many prospects won't reply to the first email, and not because they're not interested, but a lot of times they're either too busy or they've gotten so many emails in their inbox that sending a follow-up can significantly improve the performance of your email campaigns. When to follow up. Timing your follow-up is very important. The first thing to understand is timing your follow-up depends on who you're reaching out to. Different industries, roles, and even individual personalities will respond differently to different follow-up times. So it's very important to tailor your approach as much as you can. For example, if you're reaching out to busy individuals like C-level professionals, then you might want to send a follow-up after 3 to 5 days. This gives them enough time to read your email, process the information, think about your offer, and get back to you. But if you're sending it to mid-level managers or sales executives who are often more used to faster communication, then you can afford to send it every 2 to 3 days. The key here is to get into the mind of your prospect, understand their workflow, understand their priorities, understand how they think, and how they're likely to handle their inbox. This is a campaign that we've actually launched at our agency, and I just want to highlight one thing very quickly is you can alter the time difference between sending the messages. So like email 1 to email 2, and here I have it being sent after 3 days. But depending on who you're reaching out to, you might want to extend that or reduce that. And then even depending on the trigger, right? So if, for example, if someone is hiring, if that's the angle that I'm going after, I'd want to be a little bit more aggressive actually, because it's a very timely sensitive need. So instead of 3, I might bring it down to 2. And it's as easy as it looks, by the way. Like you literally just click on send next message in, you pick the number of days, and that's pretty much it. Remember, the purpose of the follow-up isn't to just say, hey, I'm following up. It's to re-engage the prospect with additional value and insights. Each follow-up should feel like a continuation of the conversation that you were trying to start from the first email, rather than just following up for the sake of following up. How many follow-ups to send? Determining the right number of follow-ups is both an art and a science, and it should be heavily influenced by who you're reaching out to. The cadence of your follow-ups should reflect not just your persistence, but also the understanding of your prospect's needs. As a general rule, a follow-up sequence should include 3 to 5 follow-ups after the first initial email. This range is effective in most cases, as it strikes a healthy balance between staying top of mind and avoiding the risk of coming off aggressive. In addition, I would recommend to always look at the metrics of your email performance. So for example, if the prospect has opened your email or clicked on the link that you sent them and they still haven't responded, that could be an indication that they need more information. In such cases, additional follow-ups are recommended and justified, just as long as you remember that every follow-up you send needs to add value. Tracking responses. Look, it's not just about sending high volume of cold emails. It's about actively monitoring and analyzing the performance of those emails, and then using that data to refine your approach. Leverage tools like Instantly so you can track important key metrics such as open rate, reply rate, and click-through rates. This data is invaluable because it allows you to understand the effectiveness of your subject line, your copy, and your technical setup. Understanding how your prospects are interacting with your emails helps you get inside their minds. For example, if a prospect opens your email but doesn't click on any links or respond, it might indicate that they're interested but they're not convinced. So that's a great sign for you to send a follow-up email, ensuring that you're providing more value and perhaps even creating some urgency. On the other hand, if a prospect clicks on the link but doesn't reply, then that might be an indication that they just simply need a bit more information. In this case, then your follow-up should focus on providing more info, such as how your solution has helped other similar businesses to that prospect. Tracking responses also allows you to identify certain patterns. If you notice that the majority of your responses are coming at a specific time during a day, then you can adjust your sending schedule accordingly. It's one thing to talk about tracking responses, and it's another thing to show it. During this segment, I'm going to show you how you can leverage Instantly's platform to track these key metrics in real time. By continuously reviewing these metrics, you can make data-driven decisions to improve your results over time. Tracking responses isn't just about collecting data for the sake of collecting data. It's about using that data to better understand your prospects and then improve your overall outreach strategy. And this is the only cold email tutorial you'll ever need. This strategy would not have been complete without Instantly. Instantly is an all-in-one lead generation, cold outreach AI sales system. It makes sending thousands of personalized cold emails easy, helping you book more sales calls for your business. Over 10,000 businesses are already using it for their outreach campaigns. If you want to try Instantly, click the link in the description. The business landscape is changing and getting leads is only becoming more difficult. Click here to learn how you can get infinite leads for your business. I'll see you in the next one.